Hello, good evening, and welcome to the grand finale of Burger and Brewfest 2020 rankings. Oh, it's been a journey. 34 burgers down, with a couple of repeats in there as well, and we've ranked 29 of them. So, by process of elimination, you probably know what the top 5 are. Let's get straight into it. Number 5, A&W. Number 4, Wendy's. Number 3, I'm kidding. Would not do that to you. Number 5, and bear in mind, this might be the bottom of the top tier, but this was still a really, really good burger. It was the 5th best out of 34. And it's The Rooms. I didn't even know they had a restaurant, to be honest with you. And even if I had known, I probably would have expected sandwiches, soup, donuts, coffee, that sort of thing. More of a canteen than anything else. Wrong! Not only do they have a restaurant in there, but they serve some really good stuff. And this one really, really took it. That rabbit and pale ale relish doesn't sound like a combination you would expect to be great, but it was probably the best thing on the bun. It had, I think, partridge berries in it, which are just basically little bursts of tart that the burger really needed. And every now and then you'd get some of the rabbit in there too to add some earthiness to the burger. We were a little worried when we saw grainy mustard on here because it was basically the same type of mustard that we had so much trouble with at the Gypsy Tea Room, but they actually applied it in a sensible amount. So you got the mustard flavor, but grainy mustard flavor is really good in moderation, and they used it in moderation. Nice surprise in that the greenery on this burger was watercress and not lettuce of any sort. You see so little of that in this province, or maybe even in this country. Coming from England, watercress is actually quite popular, and it's seen on sandwiches a lot. It gave it a different sort of more countryside, rustic type of feel, which I really enjoyed. The only things holding this back, the patty on ours didn't appear to have been flattened enough, so that did leave the ratio of bun to patty a little off. And, I felt like there needed to be a creamy element in this. I mean, maybe you smear some herbed cream cheese on half the bun. Just something to give it a little extra texture and a different flavor note to go along with everything else. It would have been phenomenal and blow away the competition with that. As it was, still a great burger. So, in 4th place is number 4. I promise you that was not intentional. This place, we've been really looking forward to going here, and even though we were forced by the realities of isolation to get this one to go, I'm really glad we did. This is not the only brisket burger in the competition, but it is the one that did it properly. The brisket was moist, it was well seasoned, it was yummy. I still love you, Katie. Also not the only pork belly burger, but again, they did it right. You had a spicy barbecue glaze on there that you could actually taste. Not sure how spicy it was, especially when you have jalapenos on the burger as well. Difficult to tell where the spice was coming from, but it was still good. The big thing I thought about this, though, this burger allowed all of the different flavors to come through, which was so rare in this competition. You could taste everything that was on the burger, but nothing really overpowered anything else. And that's the key. You want harmonious flavors, and we got that. The drawbacks, the black garlic aioli, you could taste it. It was a little sweet, which you wanted, and it worked well with the smoked cheddar, but the garlic taste was a little too muted for me. Now, you expect it to be more muted than normal when you have black garlic instead of regular, but I still wanted more than I got. Still, excellent. Hardly anything to be ashamed of. And anytime you want to give me a black sesame seed bun, I am all about it. In 3rd place, 3rd and 2nd were very, very close. Much closer than that, Chris. I'm gonna go with Water West here. And it's because on the second eating of it, it had some issues. The patty on this burger was absolutely phenomenal. There aren't enough burgers I can say that about in this competition. Insanely flavorful, perfectly sized as well to match the size of the bun, which you hardly ever see. Very moist, well charred, just gorgeous patty. Had to call that one out straight away. The choice of raclette as the cheese, I hadn't really had it before, but I do know that in Switzerland especially, it's served almost in the same way as fondue is served. And it really does coat everything really well. It melts evenly and nicely. It's not too greasy. Slightly sweet. It's got some salt to it. Really worked very well. Especially when you consider the amazing onion relish on this burger, which it really needed. It added some juiciness to it. And there was a sweet but definite onion flavor. Not as sweet as, say, the sweet onion sauce as Subway has, but there was a definite sugary element that comboed with the onion instead of taking it over. And those two things were a great combination. A little bit of lettuce on here to add crunch. What I really would have liked maybe was something smoky in there, some sort of cured meat that didn't add too much salt to it. The mushrooms are where this burger had differences between the first and the second try. On the first try, they were a little muted. I don't know if they couldn't get enough of them that day, because they do go with locally sourced mushrooms. But they were there and they were good. On the second tasting, they went with what I believe were oyster mushrooms, and they were basically put on there fully sized. So you had slices of mushrooms pretty big, and they were a little rubbery, as oyster mushrooms tend to be. So you ended up biting into the burger and getting halfway through a piece of rubbery mushroom, and it kind of damaged the overall integrity because you couldn't get a good bite on it. That is the only thing keeping this burger out of the top two. And the only reason it didn't knock it further down is because it was on the second try. Regardless, everything on this burger is delicious, and you definitely want it. So, we have 2 burgers left, 2 spots left. Who took home number 1? For those of you not following along, we have Yellow Belly and Jack's. Neither of those two would have been my pre-tournament favorites. They wouldn't have been the number 1 seed. I wouldn't have put them anywhere near this stage, but here we are. So, who wins? In second place is Yellow Belly. This burger was phenomenal. They've had such a hit and miss in this competition. They had one year where they put soggy shrimp on their burger and tried to do a surf and turf. They had one year where the side dish of braised cabbage was better than the burger it came with. Last year they went with a sort of farmhouse approach, which was solidly middle of the pack, but had something, I think it had fried chicken skin on it, which turned off a lot of people. This year they nailed it. The key to this burger was the fried and breaded provolone, which was basically a second patty on the bun. It made the thing really big, but it almost seemed to be dancing with everything on the bun. It used a different aspect of its texture or its flavor or its creaminess, and it worked with everything. Even the lettuce and the tomato worked well with this breaded fried cheese. Patty was good. The jam and the tomato aioli were a great combination because they both had a little sweetness. The aioli was a little smoky. They worked really well, one on the top bun, one on the bottom, to give you a sort of balance of those two flavors. The prosciutto on there was really delicious, very crispy. Sarah thought it was bacon, that's how thick it was, but the flavor was definitely distinct. I really enjoyed this burger, and really the only reason it didn't beat out Jack's into first place was there was just too much slippage. By the time I finished the burger, I had way more breaded provolone than patty left, and that's always going to be a deduction. Everything else on here was just so good, though, that it's right up there. So the winner of the 2020 Burger and Brewfest is Jack's in the Capitol Hotel. Unreal. This was the third burger we tried, and it's so unusual for one of the early ones to hold on until the end. And when you look at the description of this burger, there doesn't appear to be a lot to it. But what really sets this burger apart is that the blue cheese, as everyone who has tried it knows, has a distinct funk to it. Blue cheese funk is real. A lot of people cannot stand it. It does pair very well with beef, especially if it's a rich, flavorful beef. But most people just find it too strong. The honey date jam on its own would have been cloyingly sweet and basically would have ruined most burgers. But when you combo it with the blue cheese, you get this incredible effect where they mute each other on the negative side, but amplify the positives of each ingredient, leaving you with this incredible combination of tastes that is almost like putting your beef into an amplifier and turning the beef flavor up to 15. There was still some of the blue cheese flavor. You could definitely get the honey and the date flavors in there. The caramelized onions just sort of sat there and soaked everything up and gave you an additional texture. But everything just centered around the interaction of the beef with the blue cheese and honey date jam. The patty was just melt in your mouth tender. The waitress that we had mentioned that the beef is not only ground on site, but it's ground to order. So it doesn't get much fresher than that, folks. This burger surprised all of us. And I think even if after we tried it and had a few more, if you had asked us if we thought it would hold on at number one until the end, very few of us would have said yes. But here we are, giving the first prize for the year to Jack's Restaurant. Congratulations. Folks, this has been a blast. I am looking forward to continuing to do these videos, obviously not for the Burger Battle rankings, but we'll talk about restaurants and food that we've had locally. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. Hope you've enjoyed it. Any suggestions or feedback, please do leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care, hug your loved ones, and we will see you soon.